am so over people talking semantics when it comes to decorative and functional planning. Can't we all just plan the way we want to? I have done more than one video talking about how I feel about decorative and functional planning and how I think that this whole made up Sharks and the Jets beef between the two of them is some hot garbage. But today what I thought I would talk about is some of my favorite supplies. And these can be interpreted as bullet journal supplies or as planner supplies. If you watch my Plan As You Go month, you know I do both at the same time. But I have a handful of supplies that I use that I think fall under the category of functional planning while still being a little bit decorative in my planner. With anything else in terms of the planning community or the shit you use in your planner, it is so personal, man. Don't let what I do make you feel like you're doing something wrong, because that is so not the case. If it works for you, it works for you, and that's all it needs to do. Sounds like Dr. Seuss. I'm also going to preface this with this reminder to you that you do not have to buy all of the things. You can buy all of the things. I mean, if you can afford to buy all of the things, but you don't have to. Whenever somebody is new in the planner community, your first impulse is you get overwhelmed because you see all of the shit, all of the beautiful things, all of the fancy things people are doing, the different planners, the different pens, the different washi, all the things. And you want to go buy all the things. You don't have to. Matter of fact, I don't recommend it. I recommend you start with a couple of the things and decide if they work for you, and then buy a couple more of the things. And then soon you'll graduate to the place where I am, where then you feel justified in buying all of the things, even though sometimes I think I should remind myself of that and go back to the whole don't buy all of the things at once thing. How many times have I said things? We'll start with the thing that I need more than anything else, besides a notebook or a planner, of course, and that is a pen. I prefer black ink. I don't color code with my inks. You can if you, that's one place where you'll go and buy more of the things. But for me, I don't color code. I just use black ink unless I'm doing like a rainbow spread or something. Now, why I own 85,000 colorful pens, that's a different question. Now, when I'm bullet journaling especially, but also in my Erin Condren, depending on how I'm feeling, what my mood is, I actually like to go in between a few different nib sizes. I tend to go for felt tipped pens as my preference. What I will wind up buying is a pack like this. This just happens to be the one I'm using right now. A pack that you can get from Michael's of like Pigma Microns or Spectrum Noir art liners or Tombow pens or Pitt Artist pens. You can get a multi-pack that has different nib sizes. I tend to really like having an ultra-fine nib, a fine nib, and a medium nib, and maybe even a brush and a bold to go with that. But that gives me enough kind of variation if I'm going to doodle, if I'm going to letter, and that right there will help you bring the amount of supplies down by experimenting with what you can do with your pen. The next thing I like to add on to my planning lifestyle, if you will, is washi tape. I am not talking about my extra obsession with washi tape. I'm just talking about having a few things that really appeal to you. And I'm not talking about it from a decorative standpoint, even though you can use and you should if you want to. And by using washi tape in a functional way, it also by nature adds some decoration to your planner. I utilize 3 different sizes of washi tape on the regular. I generally use the 15 millimeter washi tape, which is your standard style of washi tape, like the basic roll, and then the one that's slightly smaller than that, the 10 millimeter, and both of those I kind of use for the same purpose. I use them to add a little bit of decoration, but the functional purpose of that is to mark off periods of time in a horizontal manner. So if you look at my monthly planner, you will see that I use the 10 millimeter to mark when I have custody and the 15 millimeter to go behind that to mark like trips or when people are in town or like long periods of time, conference week, whatever. On my weekly spread, often the fatter washi is mainly used as like to decorate the top and the bottom to pull it together. And the 10 millimeter will get used again across the bottom of my hourly columns to mark off like when my kids are out of town for the weekend or something. And it gives me that ability to give it like a nice long mark. I will also use that to mark vertically on one day to mark a period of time where I'm working for several hours in a row, or I'm driving or something like that. I can use any size of washi for that, but I tend to gravitate towards the 10 millimeter sized washi because I feel like to me it just looks the most visually pleasing, and that is how I tend to lean even when I'm picking things for a functional purpose. The final size of washi tape that I tend to pick, I believe, is 7 millimeter, but it might be 5 millimeter. It's the next skinny size down from the 10 millimeter, and that one I tend to keep in solid colors. I got a roll of them from Michael's, I'm pretty sure. And what I will use this one for is to block off sections of my planner. If I want to block off a spot for to-do lists or anything like that, I will use that kind of washi tape just as a barrier to kind of break up. Since I use the hourly, it's one long column. That is really handy for that. Now, the elephant in the room here in terms of functional versus decorative, and where I think a lot of the shitty language that comes when people argue with each other over it, like, is based in, is stickers. Oh, your planner's just a sticker book. Oh, well, you're just playing with your stickers all day. Oh, why do you women just... I'm sorry, I've heard some dudes make some fucking shitty ass comments about those of us playing in our sticker books. Well, you know what, motherfucker? Maybe I like using stickers. When it comes to stickers, pretty much almost every sticker I use in my planner also has a function. Even if that function is to look pretty so it makes me happy. That's fucking functional. But when it comes down to it, there are two kinds of stickers that I use in my planner that have a very specific function that works for my brain when I plan the week. The first are icon stickers. Now, these may look like a cutout icon of a crock pot or in a circle of a laptop computer, or they may be like a Once More with Love munchkin holding a music note. I use them to call attention to whatever it is that they're marking. Like, I will use the munchkin stickers with the music note to mark when my husband has band practice, or I have vocal rehearsal, or my kids have a concert, because we're all fucking musicians in this house, and I go through a metric shit ton of those munchkins. But also, I will use a crock pot sticker to mark when I need to put my food in the crock pot. Or I will use a laptop sticker if I have a bunch of urgent emails to send. I use them because by putting them there, that picture draws my eye. And even before I read what it is I wrote I need to do, I know what it's referencing, or at least I have an idea. Do I need them? No. But since I don't color code using if I color coded, that might help me see a little bit better, but I don't like it. My brain doesn't work that way. So instead, I use the icon stickers to help draw my eye to specific tasks. Even if they change colors, the shapes are still there, and that works for me, aka is functional for me. The other kind of stickers that serve a massive function for me, and believe me, there are plenty of other functional stickers that I also use that are functional for me, but the other big puppy are the little tiny like rectangles / ovally situations from Christian Designs. I have a couple different kinds of them, but I use those in conjunction with the aforementioned washi tape. I put the washi tape down to mark that my husband is going to be out of town for the weekend. I use one of those to slap at the front of the washi tape and write down what it is. My kids are going to be out of town. I write down what it is. If somebody's going to be visiting, I write it down. I just put the washi. I look back at it 2 months later before it actually happens, and part of me is like, what the hell? But those just help label it. So that's really what they're there for. There are many other stickers I like to use, from half boxes to full boxes to event stickers to decorative stickers, all the stickers. But those two kinds, the icons and the little tiny label stickers, really help me hold my shit together more than probably anything else. If the stickers and the washi tape help me in my Erin Condren to really see visually what it is I need to do, then in my bullet journal, the other thing besides the black pens that really, really helps me figure shit out are some kind of markers or highlighters. Now, I tend to use Tombow markers and mild liners. I don't need to use them both, but I have them both, so why the hell wouldn't I? I use my mild liners to do a bunch of tracking, my time, my habits, my year in pixels, shit like that. One of my most often used places for my Tombows in terms of functional planning is on my monthly calendars and task lists. I use them to mark periods of time, to mark when Mondays are, stuff like that. That color kind of pops it out. Because most of the work I do in my bullet journal is in black pen, having the mild liners and the Tombows to add a pop of color to draw my eye, much like the icon stickers. It really helps me organize my thoughts when I'm looking at it. There's a few things that people like to use for functional planning that I don't use. Just because I don't use these doesn't mean you don't use these. But just to give you an idea of how I have figured out some of the things that don't work for me, I'm going to give you a few of those right now. For one, like I said earlier, I don't use pens that aren't black. Every once in a while, I'll pick a different color just for the fun of it, like a blue pen or something. But for the most part, 99.9% of my planning is done in black ink. I also don't use rulers. I really fucking hate using rulers. Now, you can observe this in my bullet journal and how my lines tend to go all wonky and off into a different direction. But honestly, I don't feel like doing it. Like, to me, somehow rulers almost make me feel like I'm more out of control. So I just don't bother. I'm like, fuck it, I'm going to freeball it. I did make a list in this video of things I do love to use for functional planning. However, they don't cross over necessarily. For example, I generally don't use stickers in my bullet journal. I just don't like it. I don't like the feel of drawing over a sticker. It kind of bothers me. And just like that, I don't use my mild liners in my Erin Condren planner. I'll use my Tombows in my Erin Condren planner for like accents and colors, but I won't use my mild liners in there. Why? I don't know. I just don't. I just don't feel like it. But I learned that through trial and error and trying things. And if there's anything that you can use as a takeaway from this video, it's that. You don't need to go buy all the things, but don't be afraid to try things. Just know that if it doesn't work for you, you don't have to keep using it. Destash it. Sell it to someone else. Give it to someone else. Or just hang on to it like I do. #hoarder. I hate when people put rules on how you do something. And I feel like this is an age-old debate that comes up over and over again in our community. I may be overthinking this, but honestly, I feel like sometimes people assign value judgments to how you plan. Oh, you use sticker books, you must not actually have very much to do with your life. Oh, you judge me for using stickers, you need some sex. Like things like that. You see people getting all pissed off because the way that you're planning doesn't resonate with them, and so somehow you're doing it wrong. Like, fuck that. Anybody who tells you that you're doing it wrong can kiss my hairy ass, because that is not what this is about. Nobody should give a shit what's in your planner except for you, because you're the one who has to live your life. So live it however you fucking want to. Don't be an asshole while you're doing it. Make sure that when you buy things, try and use them. Don't just buy them to hoarder them. Owning all the things means nothing if you don't put them to good use. So I hope that this gave you a little bit of a pep talk, a little bit of an idea of how to think about some of the things that you use, maybe a little bit of a thought around the whole decorative versus functional planning debate. This will not be the last video I make on this subject because it fries my nads, as you probably figured out by now. But for right now, I'd love for you to leave in the comments your favorite supplies that could double as both functional and decorative. Even if the function is just that it makes you happy, because that's fucking functional. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you next time.